And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. Last year, a pretty big hit came out called 5 Minute Dungeon. A very simple game where you were just playing cards as quickly as you can to go through a dungeon in 5 minutes. Fast and easy. This is pretty much the same game, but they've changed some things, kind of upgraded a bit and changed the theme. So now we have 5 Minute Marvel. So this is a game in which all players are working cooperatively to defeat some evil bad guys by playing cards as fast as they can from their hands. Here's how it plays. Now, when this game says 5 Minute Marvel, it's talking about each part of the game. So if I fight Green Goblin, I have 5 minutes to fight him, boss 1. And then MODOK, boss 2. Boss 3 is Red Skull, then Ultron, Loki, and then finally Thanos, which is quite a big jump up if you think about it. So it could be a 30-minute game. So when you fight a boss, these are the symbols that you're going to need to defeat that boss. He'll tell you how many door cards to put on top of him. So that's 15 door cards in this particular instance. And then I'm going to add door cards equal to the number of players. So let's say I'm playing with 3 players. And then I'll also add 3 crisis cards from this deck. Shuffle these together and put them on top of the boss thing right there. Each player is going to pick a special character. So maybe I'll be Black Widow, Ms. Marvel, Rocket and Groot. Maybe I want to be Spider-Gwen. You'll take the matching deck that comes with that character. So here's Rocket and Groot's matching deck. And then you're going to take a big deck that's full of resource cards showing different types, usually 1, but sometimes 2 types. And you're going to split this evenly between the players. Everyone is going to draw a hand of 3 of these, and the game begins. You're going to need a 5-minute timer, and you'll turn over the first card here. So the first door card is some light shoplifting. So I need to defeat this minion. Well, here's the problem. I have 2 reds and a blue. This guy needs a pink and a lightning bolt. So maybe 2 other people play those cards. You just play them out of your hands. He's gone. We draw the next one. This guy needs a green and a lightning bolt. And so someone plays this one, which seems kind of a waste because it has 2 icons on it. Someone plays this, but hey, we got rid of the International Trick Shot Champion, also known as Bullseye. So then we turn over the next card and we keep doing that. Now, whenever you use cards, if your hand is below 3 cards, you can draw more. You can draw them off your pile of resource cards, or you can draw the top card of your deck. So here, Groot has a recover yourself from an injury card. Or here, counts as any 1 resource. That's a pretty good wild card. Defeat any card that has a lightning bolt on it. This counts as 2 resources. Cancel a crisis. So you can see that basically Groot has wild resources. Ms. Marvel, on the other hand, has a bunch of double fist cards. She counts as 1 of each resource, and she can also recover an injured hero. And Black Widow here, for example, she can defeat a goon. So you'll see each type here. This guy happens to be a minion, but there are some of the door cards. Let's take a look here. Here's a goon. So Electro's a goon, so she could just defeat him. There's goons, and there's minions, and there's villains, and there's masterminds. All right, so there's different kinds of people that you're going to come across in fighting, and she can just take out a goon. And then the next mission card's a goon, defeat that one too. And here she can defeat a minion, and then she has these double resource cards. So each character has those. Each character also has a special ability. So Groot here can always discard 3 cards to choose 2 heroes to draw 2 cards. Or Ms. Marvel can discard 3 cards to let all heroes draw 2 cards. Or Black Widow can discard 3 cards to defeat a villain. So each player has these special abilities. Now, as you're going through these door cards, you're going to be hitting these crisis cards. When a crisis card comes up, you just have to do what it says. Wait until the timer shows a 9, then flip the next card. Or this one here, wait until the timer shows a 5. Those are very similar. Or flip your mat to your injured side. When everyone is injured, they can no longer use their special ability unless they have a card that lets you become uninjured. And there's all sorts of crisis cards will show up. Discard all cards with a lightning bolt on them. Pass your hand to another hero. Everyone discard your hand if any hero has more than 5 cards. So that's basically the way the game is. Now, once you defeat the last door card, then you simply just have to defeat the boss. If you do that, you win that particular game or that phase of the game. You lose if time runs out, 5 minutes, and you haven't beat the boss yet, if all players run out of cards, or if you can't beat a door card or a boss that shows up. You'll notice that the bosses get more powerful, not only with the number of icons, but for example here Thanos, the highest boss has a whole lot of icons to defeat him. You're also putting 30 cards on top of him plus a number of players. So that can make him a lot more difficult. Spoiler alert, it is a lot more difficult. The box comes with a nice little insert here where you can put the character card for each character and have all their cards together. So if you want to see the characters that are in the game, we have Medusa, we have Spider-Man, we have Hulk here, we have Squirrel Girl, who is personally my favorite character, Iron Man, Captain America, and you've already seen Spider-Gwen and the other three. And then there's just a whole ton of door cards. There's so many, every single door card as far as I can tell. Like here you have to even fight J. Jonah Jameson, and there's Bob, one of my favorite characters, Agent of Hydra. So you have all these different characters that are going to be showing up, and some of these guys are a lot harder to beat than others. Look at this guy. Kang is much harder to beat than the Wizard is, so you're never quite sure, and I don't remember ever reading about this guy in the comics, but he's probably there. So you have lots of different door cards. The Crisis cards have less artwork on them. There's like Crisis and then something that happens to you. But everything about this game, the art, the special decks of cards are very straightforward. This is Squirrel Girl's sets of cards. Here she can pause time and let everyone think for a second. So there's some interesting cards, and they all have a very unique flavor to them. So there you go. That's how the game is played. It's very quick. It's very easy. It's better than 5 Minute Dungeon. First of all, I like the theme better, obviously, and I like the Marvel theming, and this artwork is phenomenally well done. It looks like it's done by the same artist who did the artwork for Hail Hydra. It just looks great. And the quality of the cards, everything is just high quality. It's a really good product put together. So comparing this to 5 Minute Dungeon, in this game, each of the heroes has their own special deck, not just a special ability, but their own special deck, which is a nice twist to it. And the decks really have a different feel to them. I said Squirrel Girl's my favorite. She has one that says, if the card shows a squirrel, you can defeat it. So then you're like, wait a minute, there's squirrels on these cards? I didn't even notice them. And you're looking and you'll see a squirrel in the background. Boom, I can kill that card. And so the game is this frenetic, fast-paced thing where, you know, to beat Green Goblin, honestly, I can't see how you can lose to Green Goblin. You'd have to try to lose to him. He's not hard to beat. But as the game goes and gets harder and harder, you have to play faster and faster, and you eventually got to play savvier too, fast and savvy, because you only have so many cards to use against the thing. Now, I mentioned in the rules overview that you draw 3 cards. It's a 4 to 5 player game. If you play with 2 or 3 players, you have more cards in your hand. But you got to be careful to never let yourself get in a situation where you can't do anything. Very rare that will happen. Most of the hero's powers let you discard cards to do something. And whenever you discard cards, you can draw more. And the players work together. This works okay as a 2 or 3 player game, but I like it best with 4 and 5 because it's just craziness all around. You'll see people throw cards and mail at the same time. You're like, oh, you're both wasting resources. You know, I could beat this guy. Hang on, I got a card for it. You know, there's a lot of that shouting going back and forth. Yes, it's not a 5-minute game. It's a half-hour game if you play through the whole thing, which most people are going to want to. But it's entertaining. There's a lot of speed games out there. There's not a lot of these speed cooperative games, and this one never feels so overt like, oh, I don't know, I just can't keep up. You turn the villain over, you're like, hey, I got those cards. Let me play those. And so there's not a lot of heavy thinking and a lot of hard choices. You just got to play the cards together, choose when to use your big powers, and it just comes up to be a whole lot of fun. I've seen this one really go over well, even with people who may not be the biggest of Marvel fans. While if you are a Marvel fan, you'll get a chuckle out of all the different villains and people involved and enjoy it more for that, like I do. So that's 5 Minute Marvel. 5 minutes more fun. Okay, I can't think of a good pun. It's just a good game. Dice Tower Judgment approved.